Azerbaijan Grand Prix, one of the most interesting Grand Prix of the Formula One season. The Grand Prix was first held in 2017. That's in the city of Baku in Azerbaijan. It's a street circuit and is one of the anti-clockwise circuits in F1. I know when it is anti-clockwise, it is a little bit difficult. It is more tighter and it is more crazier. It brings more fun. It brings more energy, and that was how interesting Azerbaijan is. The driver with the most pole, Charles Leclerc, he has had more poles there than any driver in Formula One, and is one of his best tracks. Azerbaijan is located on the Caspian Sea, and it's a very interesting track that for me I love, especially the long straight turn 16 back to turn 1, the DRS from turn 19, crazy, and it makes it interesting. The second DRS switches from turn 2 to turn 3, another long one. The Azerbaijan circuit keeps calling you from turn 9, turn 12, it calls you turn 14 to turn 15. That is where Lance Stroll do have his own almost every year. You always have it out there. And one thing about the street track of Azerbaijan, it is so following that you want to follow the drivers into the world. The drivers will be so enticed into the world. The world will be calling them like, come, and almost all the drivers have had a taste of the world or the runoff areas in Azerbaijan, because they know the walls are so tight, especially those from the middle sector from turn 5 to turn 14 is so tight. Turn 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 also, those are the tightest corner there. I don't know how those guys drive it, that they don't have heart attack. And I'm sure that is one of the reasons why the luxury cars from Baku are always accidented, because maybe those guys do go try in Formula One, like, let's try what these guys do, let's do something about it, and just see some Azerbaijan cars, seeing them front right out, especially the church corner. And going there this weekend is not for the championship, but to see if we can see the rejigged Red Bull in Max Verstappen's and do the wonders, or we are going to see Charles Leclerc's Ferrari doing his own qualifying thing again. And one thing about Azerbaijan is, I think because of the speed that the driver requires and the downforce level, it requires a lot of engine power. So it's better most drivers come with a new fresh engine, or an engine that has not been overused, because they come with an engine that has been overused. For Ferrari, we've seen it, I think in 2021, 22 Ferraris had engine issues. I think in 22 the 2 Ferrari drivers were out, and that alone is a pain when you see drivers out in Azerbaijan. Not something that is very interesting, but one way or the other, we get the feel how you get it. So it's a 51 lap race in Azerbaijan with 20 turns, as in 20 corners. Some corners are like straight, while some corners are corner slow corners. We have a lot of slow corners and just 2 or 3 high speed corners. That's on 12, 13 to 15, then turn 16 to 20 high corners. Aside from that, a lot of low speed corners, and we have a lot of places in which you can overtake in Azerbaijan. All the 3 sectors you can overtake. And 2026 event will be held on a Saturday, following a request from the promoter, to accommodate the Remembrance Day. So it has been moved to September since 2024, and I expect it to be very interesting. The driver that has won more in Azerbaijan has been Sergio Perez, with Red Bull winning more races in Azerbaijan than any other team. Sergio Perez 2, Daniel Ricciardo, and Max Verstappen. All those 3 Red Bull drivers have won. Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas. The first race was held in 2017 and it has been held 7 times. 2020 was missed because of COVID. The circuit length is 6.003 kilometers. That's about 3.730 miles, with a race length of 306,049 kilometers. That's a 190.170 miles for the 51 lap race in Azerbaijan. Charles Leclerc took pole position for last year, with Oscar Piastri in his Mercedes smashing him, and Charles Leclerc coming second. I would say the second was even by chance. Russell came third. Lando Norris with the fastest lap. Lando Norris didn't get into Q2, he was out in Q1, and he was able to fight back because there are less things to overtake. The winner of the first Azerbaijan race was Daniel Ricciardo, Red Bull. Sergio Perez 2, Daniel Ricciardo 1, Max Verstappen 1, Lewis Hamilton 1, Valtteri Bottas 1, and Oscar Piastri, or Oscar winning. So Oscar Piastri had 1, but Sergio Perez twice. So I got it right. Yes, I got it right. The sprint shootout was first had in Azerbaijan in 2023, but there's been no sprint shootout in Azerbaijan since then. I hope we can have again, but it's not looking like we're going to have another sprint soon in Azerbaijan. No, I'm not sure. We're going to be having FP1, FP2 Friday, FP3 qualifying Saturday, and the main race on Sunday. That's the grand finale. It's going to be loud in Azerbaijan, but one thing you also don't want to miss is the weekend is going to be a dry weekend with very sunny dry, no rain. The weather, the temperature of around mid 20 degrees, about 22, 26 degrees all through the weekend. So we're going to have a dry race in Azerbaijan. But the funny thing is this, the tire strategy is different. We are going to be having the C4, C5, C6 compounds, making the C6 the softest, which might bring the tire strategy to be different. And we purposefully might have a faster time. But one thing we are going to be having two-stop strategy, because on those long straight consumes tires, most times between lap 10 and lap 15, a lot of drivers change tires first, so, and they go on medium hard. So if you're going to be having C4, C5, C6, you should be having a two-stop strategy: add medium, add, or medium, add, medium, or add medium, medium, something like that, or medium, add, hard. Two stops, which split the strategy and also give us multiple pit stops, and the walls will call. That might change the whole narrative of the race. Let me take you back down the line in years. 2024, like I said, Charles Leclerc pole position, Oscar Piastri second, Carlos Sainz third. Perez has always been high on his teammate in Azerbaijan. Even in his bad season, he will out-qualify Max Verstappen. And Leclerc, if he takes pole position, person behind him will overtake him. And in 2024, Russell was Verstappen fifth, Hamilton was behind him. We had Oscar Piastri winning the race, Charles Leclerc started pole position second, Russell third for his pain, Carlos Sainz was out of the race. We have Norris fourth coming from behind, Verstappen fifth, Alonso sixth. In 2024, in 2023, we had Charles Leclerc again pole position, Max Verstappen second, Sergio Perez third, Carlos Sainz fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Fernando Alonso sixth. Like that. But the funny thing was, Alonso was on his game 2023. Unfortunately, Sergio Perez won the race. Max Verstappen second, Charles Leclerc pole position third, Alonso fourth, Carlos Sainz fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, Lance Stroll seventh. And it was funny, very crazy race, But the funny thing was, the race was one of the dullest races of the season in 2023. It was just like nothing really happened in the race. But in 2022, we had Charles Leclerc again, pole position, Perez second, Max Verstappen third, Sainz fourth. Now Russell fifth, Gasly sixth, Lewis Hamilton seventh, Tsunoda, Vettel, Alonso. Now in the race, what happened? Max Verstappen won the race. Sergio Perez second, Russell third, Hamilton fourth. The two Ferraris out. Carlos Sainz, he lost his engine, while Charles Leclerc was smoke from the back of his engine. 2022, 23, 24, Leclerc pole. Now let's go to 2021. 2021, Charles Leclerc pole. The funny thing, Lewis Hamilton overtook him before lap 6. Max Verstappen overtook him. Now Max Verstappen was leading the race 2021. After Lance Stroll lost his tire, I think Pirelli were having tire issues. Max Verstappen was leading the race. Almost the same position. Max Verstappen lost tire also. Now Hamilton starting the race. Lewis Hamilton, his magic button was pressed down. He went from first before turn 1 to ending the race last. That was in the year 2021, the sacred year of F1 for this present generation. It has not been a good hunting ground for Ferrari, especially for Charles Leclerc, because he is very good in qualifying, especially in Baku, but he has never finished. Back 2020, there was no race in Baku. 2019, Bottas started on pole. Bottas won the race with Lewis Hamilton coming second. But I knew 2017 was Daniel Ricciardo and Red Bull. 2018, the two Red Bulls were out, Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen. They took themselves out. But what will happen to Ferrari? What will happen to McLaren? What will happen to Red Bull? Why is Mercedes not in the conversation this time? I think because Mercedes are struggling. But I think we would be having Williams and Alpine in contention. Probably Racing Bull will be having them in contention in Azerbaijan. And I expect this year's race should give us so many memories. And after this race, a lot of Azerbaijanis should not get into the wall, should learn, and they should give us a good drive, because I want to come to the city and enjoy not just Formula 1 next year and probably this year, to enjoy some part of Azerbaijan, because that's a beautiful city. See the Caspian Ocean, have a good time, and say, hey, Formula 1 is brought there. This year's Azerbaijan race is going to be very interesting, because we're getting closer to the end of the season. We're having the Drivers' Championship eating up between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Some people are making permutations for Max Verstappen to win, but I don't see it, because this season is a gone season for McLaren, and probably by the end of Azerbaijan, McLaren would have won their Constructors' Championship. The Constructors' Championship is getting also heated up with the Mercedes getting close to Ferrari, and to the end of the season, we'll look at it, but I think Ferrari might have this covered, second position, if they don't have engine failures again, and if they don't mess up their strategy, because one of the worst things that has ever happened to Ferrari strategy, they've messed their own strategies up. It looks as if Ferrari is strategyless. I think with a lot of papers we heard and we saw Lewis Hamilton that submitted, it might help Ferrari get back, but strategy is not funny with Ferrari. Catch you guys later. FP1, FP2, then in the main race for the analysis.